man we're seeing, Mr. Nick Taylor.
How's it going?
Alright, thank you. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. Looking forward to it.
You ready to share some knowledge?
We do.
Look at all that he's got up there. What a system.
You've not been up there yet?
No.
You wait till you get out there.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, let's do it.
These are set at certain angles. They're designed with the angle of the golf club, so I'll explain that quickly. So if the golf club was built completely vertical like that,
Yes.
yeah, the natural plane angle would move up and down the target line.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the club was built like that, yeah, it would move up and down the target line. Because the club's built on an angle, there's an angle to the shaft, so it's like on an incline.
Yeah.
The plane's on an angle. So that plane represented on the ground is an arc, and these arcs I've represented for the club and the hands. So when you swing the golf club, instead of swinging the club up and down the target line, because the club's not completely upright, it actually moves around the body. Okay. This outside line represents the club path, so you can see it moves inwards here as you swing back, inwards, staying on the inside as you come down to hit the ball, and then after your low point, it's going to move around to the left. So because it's an arc, there's always going to be like a tangent point or a point where that club will change direction.
Of course.
That happens at the left shoulder. So the left shoulder and the shaft are like the centre point of the swing. So when the club gets in line there, then it should start moving back the other way.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Can I throw a guess in now?
Yeah.
For the second line? Is that going to be hand path?
This is hand path.
Right. Okay.
So as your club's moving in as it goes back, so are the hands.
Yeah.
But they're moving in at the same rate. So
Yeah.
you wouldn't see like the club being thrown in and the hands out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So following those two lines, then, if you
Yeah.
can follow them simultaneously, you're going to take that wrist action out as well, then, aren't you?
Well, your wrists are constantly changing. There's little movements happening throughout the course of the swing to help you keep it on these lines.
Okay.
And there's also other body movements that are happening as well. So you'll see, to keep the club working inside, as I swing back, my left shoulder moves down and my knee flex starts to change as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, if I was to keep this bent, I know you used to do this as well, the more you keep that bent, the harder it is to take this club on the inside, and then the hands and the club will start to lift too much and they'll start coming off these lines, and then that's the first move of the club coming over the top.
So I'll just emphasise that basically the point that you've just mentioned then about straightening that knee.
Yeah.
I mentioned about the fact that my transition, I wasn't keeping my backswing low enough.
Yeah, that's right.
So bringing the trailing leg or the back leg into a straight position, like he's just showing there,
Yeah.
is allowing my waist to basically move round far enough, and it also brings the plane of the backswing at a much lower gradient.
So it's in a couple of different things.
Exactly, and it's something as simple as that that's made so much difference to my driving, especially my driving, because of the swing speed on the transition coming down. I tend to have, instead of getting to my point where I'm at the backswing, I was then lifting my arms. I had a lesson, the chap that pointed that up was that James Goddard at Prairie Sports, where I got to my transition, and then instead of coming straight down, or I couldn't get my shoulders round enough, I was lifting my arms up in the air instead, so forming what's known as, what is it, chicken wing, is it? It's known as, where you...
Well, when what was it, your elbows doing that, was that?
Well, I was at transition, and then instead of going that little bit further on my shoulder turn, I was lifting my arms instead. Now I have had a broken right shoulder as well in the past, whether that's got something to do with it. But I know for a fact that that little tip that you gave me, I mean, it was only 10 minutes that we saw each other for. You were looking at my swing, and that little 10-minute period there, and you looked at my swing and you told me to straighten that back leg. my driving now has become a lot. I'm not saying perfect, but I'm not getting the practice. But it's become a lot more consistent to how it used to be.
That's
for
what
sure.
You just said there about what James said as well. From what I saw was, you did keep quite a lot of flex in that knee, and you were going a little bit out, and then going over the top.
Yes.
It was, you were struggling. So if you can, the more in you can come, you can move slightly over, but you'll be closer to these lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you. It's all about impact.
It's all about working with everybody's individual swing as well, isn't it? I think gone are the days now, or going are the days, where there is a routine swing. I think there's systems. Now that's something. This swing stack and tilt system. Is it a stack and tilt system, or is it stack and tilt method? System.
So it's a system for coaching.
Okay.
It's built around a 3D description of the golf swing. So the golf swing, there's obviously your golf swing moves in 3D. So there's different movements happening at the same time. So the first thing you look at is like the 3 fundamentals. Do you know anything about the 3 fundamentals?
I've heard you mention them, but it's probably worth mentioning them to these guys. If
okay, I'll talk you through it quickly. So basically, there's 3 fundamentals that we use when we're coaching to help improve the player and also give you a starting point for working on the golf swing. So the first one would be the ability to control the low point of the swing. Okay, if I put the club on this line here, okay, imagine that's the ball. If you measure the best players in the world, as they hit, their club is always going to hit just target side of that line as they come through.
Yeah.
Okay, you can pretty much measure the ability of a player on how they can control where the club hits the ground. Even without hitting the ball, you can pretty much guess what sort of level of golfer they are. Now what I see is, with high handicappers, even sometimes with single figure handicappers, is that when their club hits the ground, it varies where it bottoms out.
Yeah.
More often than not, it's before the line.
Yes.
Before the golf ball.
Yeah.
Or what tends to happen, a pattern that I see a lot, is golfers that over time have been hitting the ground behind the ball, then they start to flex their arms to
because I mean I can relate to that as a beginner when I first started, and obviously I've learned from a lot of people like yourself on the explanations on YouTube and lessons and tutorials that people like yourself have given and the like, and now I understand it that when you come down on the ball, you want to be really bottoming out past the ball. So literally you're striking the ball rather than striking the turf first. You're striking the ball first, and it's your follow through then that actually takes the divot, so to speak. Yeah.
So the club is still coming down very slightly as it hits the ball.
Yeah.
Not excessively. It's around, with a 7-9, you're going to be looking to get around a 4-degree angle of attack into the ball downwards.
Yeah.
And as the club's going down, it should still be going out as well. So from the inside slightly.
Yeah.
So the first fundamental is low point. So like I said to you, you can literally, you don't even have to get something to hit the ball, you can just draw a white line or whatever.
There is a new training aid that I've just seen come out. The fat, is it the fat plate?
Fat plate, yeah.
And I think that's designed around that fundamental, isn't it?
That's really the first thing that links the best players. You watch their swings, they're all different. The best players in the world, they all hold it differently. You've got some players with really strong grips.
Yeah.
You've got some players, speed, etc., has got really weak grip, like a weak left hand.
Yeah.
So you've got some players that have got their hand turned around this way and some turn around that way.
Yeah.
So there's no really fundamental grip. There's no real fundamental aiming position. You get some players that aim to the left because they fade it back.
Yeah.
You get some players that aim to the right because they draw it back.
In, yeah.
So it's relative to that individual where they aim. That's more of a variable than a fundamental. You've got different stances, different postures, different ball positions, all different from the best players in the world. If you had the top 10 players, they'd all stand differently. It would be something different in their setup. There's no standard setup. But the one thing that links all of those best players is their ability, as they hit the ball, to hit the ball first and the ground. So their low point.
So it's all about the strike.
It's all about the strike impact. Yeah. So that's the first fundamental.
Okay.
Being able to control that, and once you can improve that and do that consistently, then you can start to worry about the next fundamental, Sometimes they're linked, the first two fundamentals. The second fundamental is the power. So it's having enough power to play the golf course.
Right.
So for a pro, they need to have enough power to get to the holes in regulation.
Of course.
What's your handicap, Barry?
16.
16.
Well, officially.
So I know you hit a long ball, so power's not an issue for you. But say you're a 16 handicapper, you need to be able to. You don't necessarily need to reach the green in regulation.
No, it's not a concern.
No.
Yeah.
You don't have to, because you've got shots to play with. So an example would be an 18 handicapper. They would need to have enough power to reach a par 4 in 3 shots.
Yeah.
Which most do.
Yeah.
So most people have enough power, but there's always things in your swing that you can do to increase power. And one could be the rotation of the hips, the knee flex changing to create more power. Because in your swing, if you just stand there and you don't turn your lower body and just turn your shoulders, most people have about 30 degrees of rotation.
So it's only boiling down to arm strength, really, isn't it? It's not a fluid motion.
If you don't turn your hips,
yeah,
you can only turn your shoulders on average 30 degrees.
Yeah.
So you look at the best players; they've all, from face on, they've all got pretty much a 90-degree shoulder turn. So that 60 degrees has to come from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it has to come from you using your body. So as you swing back, you'll see with my swing, as I swing, this knee starts to straighten right from the beginning. And because my knee flex is changing, hips are turning, that helps me turn my shoulders.
That's the point where it helps me to keep my swing plane low on the backswing.
Yeah, that helps you keep the hands in.
Yeah.
And I think some people do get a little bit confused, because I'm not asking everyone to lock it like this.
Yeah.
But the longer the swing, the more it should straighten. So
yes.
Generally with a driver, it should straighten more because your swing's longer.
Yeah.
So it should happen gradually, progressively
as the clubs go through. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you've got your first fundamental, low point, hitting the same point on the ground every time. Yeah. I don't play much golf.
I've seen you on a golf course, mate. I've seen you hit some shots. Green in regulation, every hole. I've seen you do it. Don't give me that.
When did we play? September, right?
Yeah.
I played once since then, and that was with Liam.
Well, I'm probably about the same par, to be fair, but you've got the ability and the skill, so you're not having that fiver off me.
What I was going to say was, I don't play much golf, but I can stand there and I can hit the same point on the ground
consistently
every time.
So that's a massive fundamental in golf, isn't it? Consistency.
Definitely, yeah. So, but I know the factors that control that, and a lot of the time, most players have things in their swing that they're doing a number of things causing their club to hit back here, and it does take a while to get rid of that, because the way the golf swing was taught was, over the years, was to shift the weight and then release the hands.
Right.
That was the way a lot of coaching was.
Right.
So if you think about that, the more weight you've got on this back leg, and the more you release the hands, the further back on the ground you're going to hit. So then to get the low point in front is almost impossible.
Yeah.
So,
I suppose you're bringing a lot more elements into the swing, aren't you? I mean, you've got to try and get back to the left.
Exactly. You measure the best players at impact, lower body weight. I would say it's around about 80% on average on the left at impact. The best players, and you do get some players that do shift off the ball very slightly. Some of the best players, but they're quick enough, athletic enough, strong enough to get back to the left as they hit free. Yeah. Whereas a common trait I see is players that do move off the ball, handicappers,
tend to stay behind it. Yeah.
And then when you stay there, the more you stay on the back foot, the more the club starts moving across the ball anyway. That's why a lot of golfers slice as well. It's not just low point, it's also that can affect the path of the swing.
Makes sense.
Okay, so you've got low point, you've got power, and if you look at the best players on any tour, whether it's the Ladies Tour, the European Tour, PGA Tour, every player in the field will display those two fundamentals of hitting the ground in the same spot and having enough power to play the course. What separates probably the best players from, say, the other pros are their ability to control the curve of the ball.
Right. Okay.
And that's where.
So that's manipulating the ball itself. I mean, that's some skill, isn't it? That.
Oh yeah, but obviously, if you're a tour professional, you have a good control. But you will see McIlroy hit the ball in the trees, in the water. It happens. You won't see him completely fat shot or thin thinner full 7-iron or something.
No.
But you'd see him hit a shot offline because
Yeah.
it's hard to control club face and club path swinging it 120 miles an hour with a driver, whatever he swings it at. Yeah, to a degree or two offline can send the ball into the rough or out of bounds even. Yeah, so controlling the direction is really difficult, and I think a lot of amateur golfers are really focused on too much on direction when really they need to get the strike better first before they worry about anything else.
Right,
and a lot of the time, if you improve the strike, it does improve your direction anyway.
I tend to basically work my direction around my swing itself, but because my swing changes so much with the amount of practice I get, it's like I've been getting onto courses and aiming left because my shot has always been a left to right, but that's like fine. A power fade. But the more I practice, I tend to find that them shots are going straight.
Okay.
So when I'm accommodating for that left to right, they're actually going left of the target because obviously I'm lining up to aim left.
Well, the key is to when I talk about the curve of the ball, is knowing what direction it's going to start and which way it's going to curve.
So be the ball.
Yeah. Well, that point you just said about aiming left. Best player that's ever played the game, Jack Nicklaus. He used to aim left because he knew if he aimed left, he would bring it back to the target, and he could do it pretty much every time.
So I'm in good company then.
You're in good company. Yeah.
I'm in good company.
Yeah.
So let's see what.
Keep aiming left.
Shall we see what this? Look, it's even got a stack and tilt cup. Well, where does it come from then? Who actually?
Two guys in the States. A guy called Andy Plummer and Mike Bennett.
You've just been with them, haven't you, in Spain as well this week?
Last week. Andy was over in Spain with a lot of the stack and tilt instructors. We had 26 instructors from 10 different countries, from all around Europe.
All hand-picked, I assume?
Not hand-picked, just anyone that wanted to go really, that's in the network.
Right, okay. So is there many stack and tilt instructors around?
I think there's about 200
right, okay.
in the world.
Around the world?
Yeah.
Right,
I think
okay.
there's about 20-ish in the UK.
Okay.
There's quite a few in Spain, a few in Portugal. So there's quite a few in Europe. Sweden, Denmark, Holland.
So there's quite a number of
Germany
pros that believe. I mean, I actually that believe in the system. I also saw Rory McIlroy in an interview. I think was he up in Scotland at the Open or something like that?
That was the British Masters with Nick Doherty.
That's the one. And he mentioned the stack and tilt system there, or using it.
His conversation was about hitting a high flighted long iron and getting it to stop quickly.
Right, okay.
And sorry.
Glitch.
I'll start that again. So McIlroy was talking about how to hit a high flighted long iron and stop it quickly. I think Nick Doherty said to him, when you're playing the US Open and you've got a tight pin and you've got to hit a 4-iron or whatever, 220 yards and stop it on a sixpence, how do you do that? And he mentioned a conversation he had with Aaron Baddeley back in, well, this is probably about 10 years ago now, when Aaron Baddeley was working with Andy Plummer and Mike Bennett, stack and tilt guys. And Aaron Baddeley's thought was, as he set up, was with stack and tilt, you load the left side slightly at setup. And McIlroy couldn't understand, if you've got all your weight on this side, how do you hit the ball so high? Well, Aaron Baddeley's thought was to, when he swung, was obviously keep this lower body weight here, but as he went through, he was really trying to rotate as quick as he can, turn his hips as quick as he can. So it wasn't like you were swinging like that and keeping the weight like that and leaning into it. Head stays very centered, but keeping the weight there, you've already got the weight preset there for impact. And that's part of the stack and tilt system, is once you've got the weight set there at setup, you don't have to move too much through the ball. Like the average PGA Tour player would move from setup to the finish about 6 inches forward from where their hip is at setup and where it is at the finish, on average. And I think Baddeley was talking about how he's already on the left, and then from there he was just really trying to turn his body as quick as he could through the shot. So it wasn't a shift over here and a shift through the ball, and I think that stuck with McIlroy through the years.
Well, it's not done him any harm, has it? To be fair.
It's not done him any harm at all, is it?
You know, I mean, he's been off the game the last couple of years, but I mean, he's had a lot going on as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, I don't think he's won this year, has he?
I think he's got to win. No, he's not won this year, no. But I reckon there's a couple in him next year, to be honest. Now,
he'll get back.
He's just got married as well, hasn't he? You know, and
yeah, he's
plenty going on, hasn't he?
Definitely, he'll get back. Can I just show you something on this?
Quickly? Of course, mate. Of course.
Yeah. So, I know we talked about this a second ago. Now, I didn't quite finish talking about it. So, basically, you see this one here?
Yes.
Okay, you see how that's back from that tangent point, which is like the swing centre. So I said that was my left shoulder.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and the club. That forms like the brainless of the swing, or the centre point. And when you have the ball back from the centre point, that club should still be going down, but also slightly out as well.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So it projects the path out to the right. So what I've done here is I've put a T-claw to represent ball position.
Yes.
It's pretty much 3 balls behind the left centre, behind the left shoulder. Yeah. So if I hit a shot from there, my path should be going out to the right about 4 or 5 degrees.
Okay.
So if I hit a shot here, club path here, okay, it should be about 4 or 5 degrees. I've not hit a shot by the way.
And you're using my iron as well?
And I've got a glove on, but I'll try it. First swing of the day. Right, so should be around 4 or 5 degrees. Okay.
8.9.
Yeah, the trackman's not set up.
So first shot of the day, no glove, and you're using my iron, and you're going to knock it.
Yeah, what shafts are these? KBS
Standard flex, apparently.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay. Right, so
what's your target? 4 degrees?
Yeah, club path around 4 degrees. So with the ball, 3 balls behind the shoulder, it should be going just slightly out. Should be. I'll get it right.
Play a nice little draw.
Yeah, if it obviously depends on club face.
Yeah.
Like my path I can usually control pretty well. So obviously controlling the club face is quite difficult. A degree or 2 out can turn a push draw into a pull draw.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you come through with the club face just 1 degree left of the target instead of 2 degrees open to the target, that can make a difference of about 20 foot.
Mm.
Yeah. So obviously club face control is really important. But yeah, so it should be around 4 degrees, sometimes 5. 6 that time. Okay, so there, club path was 6. So I've been working on trying to bring that down to about 4.
Right, okay.
First swing of the day wasn't so good, but if I'm...
Lovely straight shot though again.
Pretty good shot, yeah. So if I move the ball back here, now I'm going to catch that ball on a more downward hit, and that's going to project the path more out to the right. Okay. Yeah. So I'm moving the ball back from my centre. Okay. So that 6 should become 10 or 11 probably. Right. So I'm going to aim my feet the same, swing the same, but because I've put the ball further back, that's going to project that path out a bit more. So it's a totally different shot just by realigning the ball. Yeah. I'm expecting to almost double that path there. There you go, 12.5, yeah? Absolutely. So with a big draw. Yeah, so you obviously have to control the club face there. Yeah, of course. Yeah, so when I put the ball back, I knew my path was going to go out more, like pretty much double, which it did. It was just a case then of controlling the club face. Yeah. So I knew I had to open that a bit more. So to get, this is where a lot of people get confused. So to get more of a draw, I actually had to open the face more. Yeah. To the target. Because I knew my path was going to go even more to the right. Yeah. So just do us another swing there, and I'm just going to focus on our stack and tilt swing should look. Okay, can I do one more? Yeah, right? Go on. Just I'm going to put the ball in front of the shoulder. Right, so you've seen there, standard ball position, my path was about 6. Yeah. It's usually about 4 or 5, but it was 6 on the first swing of the day. Okay. Moved it back, it like doubled. Yeah. 12. Now, if I put the ball in front of my left shoulder, okay, that's going to actually turn that positive number into a minus number. Because now the club should be, if I stick to this grid, the club should start moving around to the left. Yeah. Yeah, because it's already past the shoulder point. So now then we start moving to the left. So that would become like a -3 or something.
So you've got to really manipulate the club head then, really, to get a straight shot out of that, haven't you?
Well, I'm not changing my swing.
Right.
But for a fade, I need to just slightly close the face to the target.
Right.
Very slightly, just like a degree or two, because I know my swing's going to be moving 3 or 4 to the left. So I need it to start left to fade back.
Okay.
If I aimed the club face straight and swung across the ball, it would be more of a push slice.
Right, I'm with you.
Rather than a pull fade. I'm aiming for a pull fade.
Pull fade.
So yeah, this should be -3 or something. Just I'll put it like a ball, maybe ball and a half in front of the left shoulder. Or pretty much a straight pull. There you go, 3 degrees clear.
Yep, got you.
Yeah, so just moving it in front, that changes that path from positive to minus. So about -3.
That's brilliant. Right, I think you should show us what a proper swing should look like then now.
Proper swing?
With a driver.
With a driver?
Yeah, let's see what a stack and tilt swing looks like with a driver. Okay. Right, so what we're going to do here now, or what Nick's going to do here now, he's got the driver, which is my driver.
9 degrees.
Which is it 9 degree, 9.5?
Don't know, it's your driver.
I think it is 9 degree actually.
It's 9 degrees.
I think it's 9 degree. It's a 9 degree shaft. It's a 9 degree head.
Yeah. Extra stiff.
With a extra stiff shaft, and it's extra weighted as well. It's a 72 gram shaft.
Fujikura 72 gram.
And I had to have
Sub-Zero, yeah?
Sub-Zero.
So you got the 2 weight. Have you ever changed those?
I've not had need to.
Okay.
At least I don't think I have.
No, it's set on the standards setup.
Well, I was fitted at Callaway HQ for that.
Yeah, I saw
through the. Eh?
Did you go Liam?
I went with, yeah, Liam went down with me, yeah, but I had a shocker of a day. My swing was awful. I'll be honest with you, when it comes down to these trackmans and hitting into a net,
yeah,
or a screen like this, you'll see, I'm sure, once I start getting in there and you see some of my shots, I'm shocking. Right. Honestly, I just cannot seem to visualise a shot when I'm hitting against a net. A psychological thing.
Yeah, no, it does take a while to get used to.
Yeah, I dare say it does.
To get used to it.
But I mean, something that you've been doing this for years, haven't you? Now, you know. Yeah. But you're able to. You've got, with having the TrackMan and the GC2s and everything around you as well. You've got instant information, haven't you? Yeah. That you can work from and know what to put right. And when you've got an understanding of your own personal swing as well, you can accommodate that with the results that you're getting from the relevant machinery as well, can't you?
Video is good as well. I use video a lot.
Yeah.
As well as TrackMan.
Yeah, well, I'm more of a visual person. I always have been. I record a few of my shots and then look back of it and sort of compare them with watching like your own YouTube channel and other people's YouTube channels on the instructions and fundamentals, you know. But I tend to find I get a better understanding when I'm seeing it visually. So it's about time.
So I hit one of these,
I think you should.
It's quite a heavy shaft, isn't it? It's
a very heavy shaft, mate. Yeah, it is. It's a 72 gram shaft.
Okay, I'll try to hit one.
Which I think is the heaviest one that they do.
Probably is, yeah. So I've set up, I've just put that T-floor in there for the T.
Yeah.
And I've put the ball just inside the left shoulder.
Right, okay.
For the driver, yeah.
So you're hitting up?
Well, if I try and get quite level.
Right, okay.
Like if you look at, it depends what you're trying to do. Like if you look at, I know one of the long drive, like the European long drive champion Matt, he's trying to hit up quite a lot. He's trying to hit up anything from 5 to 10 degrees up. Yeah. But he's only trying to hit one shot out of say 8 into a grid. Yeah. If you look at the PGA Tour players, they're trying to hit more fairways, and actually their average angle of attack with a driver on the PGA Tour last year was, I think it was so like 1.9 degrees down or something.
Right, okay.
Between 1 and 2 degrees down.
Right, okay. So it's it down on the ball.
Very slightly.
Right, okay.
It's almost flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll try and get quite a level-ish, but slightly down is okay. Slightly up's okay. But I don't want to be too excessive either way. But there are a few myths that you have to hit up with a driver.
Yeah.
I think it can relate to club head speed. Like if you had a ladies tour, they hit up on the driver, whereas the men's tour hit down. So if you've got a slower swing speed and you're hitting down, it's not going to go very far.
Yeah.
But the PJ Tour players are trying to get a combination of accuracy and distance.
Yes.
Yeah. Whereas the long drivers are trying to hit up and trying to hit the ball as far as they can. So they're just going pure distance.
And they're down to a really de-lofted driver as well. Is it 4 degrees, some of them?
Yeah. Around 4 on average, I'd say.
So I mean, really, so if you're hitting straight anyway, like you're mentioning there, the loft of the driver itself should, providing it's fitted for your swing, should do what it needs to do anyway, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it should do. Like if you look at the long drivers, they're picking it up like double what a tour pro would do as well. If you ever go and watch the Golf out, or watch the British Masters, you watch how they tee up. They tee up really low.
Right. Okay.
Lower than you think.
Right. I tend to find, well, back in the day, I've actually seemed to have gone a bit lower now, because I've actually gone right underneath the ball a few times now.
So you probably do hit down slightly with your driver.
I think I hit down, out to in, open club face.
Okay.
So
I look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, well,
let's try it.
It's not as bad as it was, but that is my bad shot. So this is the stack and tilt swing.
Well, this is my swing.
This is your swing.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Nick's swing.
My swing, I would rate my swing about 6 or 7 out of 10.
Right. Okay.
My ability to control the ball flight is pretty
That's
high.
up there, yeah.
More like an 8 or 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
But my actual swing technique, there's a lot to improve.
Is that could be like a cut play?
Yeah, I don't practice and I don't play.
Right.
I do club reviews and golf tips on hit balls and here.
Yeah.
But I don't like.
I mean, I've seen your reviews. I've watched your reviews, and I love the way that you can actually use the club itself to manipulate the shots. There's not many YouTubers I've found that will emphasise on the workability of the actual club.
Well,
they tend to just hit a ball to their spec, to their shot, whether it's a fade, whether it's a draw, whether it's straight. You, I think, are the only YouTuber that I've seen do a review on any iron and actually manipulate a right to left, a left to right, and a perfectly straight shot.
I do the toe and heel strikes as well.
Yeah.
Try and do something a little bit different, you know.
Yeah, well, no, it's good because it gives you more of an understanding on the workability of the club and also the forgiveness.
Of course, yeah.
You know,
that's what people buy the clubs for. Right, let's see if I can hit one. This could, I don't know, this could go anywhere, but we'll try.
Oh, he's hit that. He's hit it low.
Okay.
So you got your 3.6 there.
Sorry?
You got your 3.6 club path.
Attack angle 1 up. Yeah. So I was trying to hit level.
Right, where are we there?
So attack angle 1 up.
Right. Also.
So I was trying to hit level.
Yeah.
Maybe slightly up or slightly down. Club path just slightly from the inside, and I said about 290 to know with the driver. Yeah, 288. Oh, the club speed was a little bit low there, but first swing of the day.
Yeah, can't fault that.
It's heavy shot as well. So that's a little bit low for me. I usually get.
And that's with a driver that you've not used before, as well.
No, I've seen you use it. So yeah, 104 club head speed. If I'm warmed up, I'll get that to maybe 112 with slightly lighter shaft. But yeah, just not a bad shot, really. I'll take that.
Absolutely, I would have done. So, as regards stack and tilt, then, Nick, are there any people that are out there thinking? Because I know there is a stigma against stack and tilt. There's a lot of people that sort of dismiss it totally for whatever reason. I can't dismiss it because I think everything you've ever mentioned to me about it, it all makes sense. A lot of it makes sense, and you've backed it up in arguments regarding actual footage of the pros out there winning the competitions using the system. Whether they're meaning to use the system or not, they are actually.
If you look at the best players, they all have certain characteristics which you can relate back to the stack and tilt, whether it's the knee flex, whether it's a centered swing, whatever it is, there's always certain things you can relate back to it. I would say like the reason I started doing the videos was to try and change that stigma.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot. Because I believe in the system, and when I first started coaching it, people were telling me, "Oh, you shouldn't tell people that you coach it because people get put off by it."
Right. Okay.
But I think that's because they don't really understand it, and they've heard a lot of negativity about it. Whereas,
Well, I mean, I've seen certain YouTubers in the past really dismissing it and just really disregarding the system itself, for whatever reason. I mean, these are people that are right up there on YouTube, you know, and teaching us so-called mid-handicappers or
there's loads of ways
weekend golfers, you know, how we should be doing it, you know, but it's like we've already said, it's so many people have different swings and fundamentals that whatever system you're using, it's got to suit that particular person, hasn't
it? I think the beauty of stack and tilt is that you don't teach everyone the same swing, but you use a system.
Yeah.
And I was last week in Spain watching the instructors, everyone's got a different swing, but when we're coaching, I was watching, we had 6 students out there, and they were being taught by, there's about 4 or 5 instructors, and the good thing was, every time they went to a different instructor, they're all working on a similar type of thing.
Yeah, so it's basically, like I said, the main fundamentals of it, but using them fundamentals to try and incorporate that into that particular person's swing.
Exactly.
So rather than having to change maybe 4 or 5 different aspects of that person's swing, you're basically looking at just them 3 fundamentals.
Yeah, obviously it can vary from person to person.
And reaching them 3 fundamentals, basically, isn't it?
Well, at the end of the day, I spend a lot of time coaching low point, being able to control that a lot of the time. But there may be more than one thing in your swing that's affecting the low point.
So strike is key.
It could be your weight moving back. It could be the handle being back, causing the club to bottom out before the ball. So it could be more than one thing, but you're working on the same sort of fundamental, if you like.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Right. Well, I think you'll agree. I think Nick's explained stack and tilt system very well there.
Thank you.
Try and simplified it for simple folk like myself, and all I can say is well, I'm going to get out there, we'll see how we get on. My swing's not great by any means. Nick's seen my swing before, and straightened me up on a couple of points, so hopefully I'm going to try and remember that and put it into practice here, swinging into nets, which is something I'm not great at all, but we'll see how we get on. So cheers for that, Nick.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate that.
Thanks for coming down.
If it's any good to you, let us know. Follow Nick Taylor Golf. I'll put his link in the description. We follow Nick Taylor Golf on social media. He's on Twitter, he's on Instagram, YouTube.
And YouTube, yeah.
So he's readily available for any questions, any queries, you know.
Anything about the system.
He's up here at Aintree American Golf. So get yourself up here, put yourself in for a lesson as I've done today, and hopefully able to show you a few good pointers. I'm sure he will. Thanks, Nick.
Cheers, Barry. Thanks for coming down.
We're going to go and do a bit on TrackMan as well now, so we'll see how we get on. Take care.